Hello, Mordrim here. In today's video, I will be sharing my Eldritch Knight fighter build in Baldur's Gate 3 that utilizes the Tavern Brawler feat to bombard enemies with throwables. Thrown weapons usually need to be retrieved, but the Eldritch Knight allows you to bind weapons to you, returning your precious tools back into your hands for free after every attack. This combined with jump will allow you to reposition to otherwise unreachable locations so you can show them the might of Sparta. And a small dip into the wizardry world will give us access to an incredible array of tools to buff our mobility even further, while still allowing us to enjoy multiple attacks. Now I won't lie, this build has two massive drawbacks. The first one being just an annoyance and the second one being performance. Now for the first one, the arc of a thrown weapon is bigger. This means it's easier to be blocked by, for example, a doorway or a companion. And the second one will make you use your throw action, which will open a skill bar with all throwable items. If you have a lot of items in your inventory, this menu is going to lag while closing and while opening. There is some weird stuff going on with CPUs. Now, if you can't fix the performance issues or are completely fine with how the build plays, you're good to go. Otherwise, look for something else. Now, with the introduction to this build out of the way, let's have a look at the starting ability score as well as leveling progression for this bad boy. Now, as far as the ability score goes, we're going with 17 strength, 10 dexterity, 15 constitution, 14 intelligence and 10 wisdom as well as 8 charisma. Why we are not dumping all our wisdom and dexterity? Because of saving throws. We are ranged, so the most likely thing that is going to affect us are either CCs or long-range fireballs or anything that's requiring a dexterity saving throw. So having a minus on that one will hurt quite a lot. For the fighting style, we're going with defense because archery does not work with throwing weapons. Throwing weapons are only affected by high ground and low ground, not by the archery perk. Later on you will also be able to unlock a second fighting style, and I advise you to go with protection to shield your mages and ranged characters. We are obviously going with fighter at first level. This provides us with second wind, a heal that's quite substantial, especially early on. At the second level, you're going to pick Wizard. Now, Wizard allows you to pick cantrips, which we will use to gain access to dancing lights, to provide us with something that lights the day in the darkest hours. Basically, we don't need to carry a lantern. Then we pick up Mage Hand to provide us with something that can push buttons at range. And Ray of Frost to provide us with another elemental attack that can potentially slow enemies. Now, as far as the spells go, we don't want to actually pick anything that the Eldritch Knight picks, because the Eldritch Knight has fixated spell slots that can only be changed while leveling up. The Wizard doesn't have that problem. And for the spells, we're going to pick a few things that are exceptionally important. The first one being Enhanced Leap, providing us with triple the jumping distance of a character. Our jumping distance is going to be insane anyway, but with this one we can basically fly through the battlefield. This one can be cast as a ritual spell before a fight. So if you're not in combat, you can just cast this one and buff yourself or your allies and don't expand a single spell slot. Next, we're going to pick Longstrider for another spell that's providing us with additional movement speed. Then we pick Disguise Self to change our appearance, to have something for special encounters. Fog Cloud to get access to something that ranged characters really don't like, a Blind and Heavy Obscure. Featherfall to get access to an immunity when falling, because when we are high up, we need to still get down without getting killed. So we need to cast Featherfall. And the last one is going to be your pick. Doesn't really matter. As for the prepared spell, don't pay attention to those yet. I will explain those a little bit later. Pick Enhanced Leap. Enhanced Leap is going to be your bread and butter with this build. And at level 3, we're going to get access to our subclass, which is going to be Eldritch Knight. Eldritch Knights get access to 2 cantrips. We're going with Firebolt as well as Shocking Grasp to get a fire and lightning spell in our repertoire. As for the spells, we pick up Shield as well as Protection from Evil and Good. And we can also pick a Wizard spell. For this, Expeditious Retreat is a very, very nice addition. Before we level further, I'm going to show you something you need to be aware of. You're going to receive a spell that's called Weapon Bond. Take this spell, put it next to your attack. Use it after every long rest on yourself to bind a weapon. Now, if you throw a weapon that's binded by us, like so, it's going to return to our character for free after every single attack. Keep that in mind. You need to cast Bond Weapon after a long rest. The next level goes into Fighter. This means we can pick another spell. That's going to be Burning Hands. We will never use this one, so it's not that relevant. But the feat is what we really carve. Tavern Brawler is the one we want. At the bottom of the list, right here. Add 1 point to your strength modifier, so we have +4. And now Tavern Brawler doubles our strength modifier and adds this one to the damage and attack roll. This means our throwing weapon attacks are getting +8 to the hit dice and +8 flat damage. This one is exceptionally strong. And if we ever get disarmed, we can still punch things for a ton of damage. At level 6 or level 5 in our fighter, we get the extra attack. This extra attack works on your throwing attacks. And at level 7 or level 6 with the Eldritch Knight, we get access to our level 2 spell slots. This makes it possible to equip the aforementioned really good wizard spells we can learn through spell scrolls. But before that, let's pick a feat. For a feat, we can go with strength for an ability improvement. But since we are going to pick up a fighter until level 11, we don't really need to do this. We can just pick athlete. Athlete increases our jump distance by 50%. And we get access to another strength point. Now, since we are going to get access to another set of feats, namely 2 more, we're going to pick heavy armored with the next feat. And for the last feat, we are going to pick Shield Master, providing us with another defensive options for dexterity saving throws because we are going to use a shield. I will provide you with a list of feats and at what level you're going to pick this one down below in the comments. At level 8, you're going to pick 2 additional spells. We're going to pick Darkness, which obscures and blinds enemies within, as well as Gust of Wind. Darkness is really good, especially with the legendary spear you can get in the game, but Gust of Wind is also not that bad. Let's talk a bit about the spells you're going to have equipped in your spell slots. The fighter will have Shield, Protection from Evil and Good, Expeditious Retreat, Magic Missile, Gust of Wind and Darkness. But we are also getting wizard spells. For this one, we are going to pick Enhanced Leap, which can be cast as a ritual, as you can see here. So this one works like this. We cast it, do not expand a spell slot. And for the next, we are going to pick level 2 spell casts. Magic Weapon is really nice, Blur is really nice, and Misty Step is also really nice. But if you do not want Magic Weapon, which will give you a +1 to attack and damage rolls, you can also go with Mirror Image, which is a defensive cooldown. All of those can be acquired very easily by finding a simple spell scroll. You go into the inventory with your spell scrolls, scroll down to whatever you want, like for example this one, and can learn the spell. Now I'm currently using Wrapped Headband of Intellect to gain access to another spell slot for the wizard. But if you only have the 14 I provided you with the ability score, you're only going to have 3 spell slots. So those are going to be those 3. You can, however, gain access to Enhanced Leap through the wizard spell list instead of, for example, Expeditious Retreat. Now, as far as the gear goes and the weapons, we're going to use Heavy Armor. Heavy Armor does not impede spellcasting and does not impede throwing weapons. So we are now sitting at 22 AC because we are also using a shield. When we are using a one-handed weapon, like so, in 2 hands, we are only getting potentially 2 more damage. So I personally found it better to use a shield in the offhand. Now when we proc something like shield, we're going to get a permanent, basically permanent, +5 to our armor class, which translates to 27 AC. So you're going to get very tanky and you're still going to deal quite a lot of damage. Things like weapon attacks deal additional fire damage, work on your throwing attacks. You can get rings with 1d4 extra throw damage, and you can also get a ring like so with 2 additional acid damage. So anything that's a weapon attack is going to work on throwing attacks. So to sum it up, buff yourself with Enhanced Leap like so before a fight, use a weapon bond after a long rest like so, and then go to town. Yep. That's 1 jump. Anyway, this sums up the build. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also join the channel membership or leave a donation if you have the spare coin. So, see you next time. Bye.